Hi, I'm Bree.
Hi, I'm Tess.
And we're back for a special fall episode of Friends in the Forest.
Fall is here, and the Arboretum trees are here to prove it. Fall is the perfect time to get some fresh air and take in all the beautiful colors.
In this episode, Tess will take us through a fun craft that you can make at home with leaves. Although we haven't been lucky enough to spot the famous Arbo coyote as we've wandered about the forest, we were lucky enough to set up a Zoom chat with Ecomuseum zoologist Elizabeth. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this special fall segment of Friends in the Forest.
I know a lot of us might be feeling a little bored given that we can't go out and see our friends like we used to. While we can't do all the things that we used to love doing, we might be lucky enough to discover some new hobbies during this time. One thing that I love to do, either alone or with my family, is crafts. Fall is a great time for crafts because the materials are literally everywhere. With all the different colors and shapes of leaves, there's so many things you can do. So, on your next walk in nature or even down the street, maybe pick up a few things and get creative. Here's some fun ideas that might inspire you.
As most of us know, a coyote has been spotted at the Morgan Arboretum, and she surely is a beauty. But, thanks to a fellow friend in the forest, Karen, we have come to find out that this little lady has 7 pups. We decided to set up a Zoom meeting with Ecomuseum zoologist Elizabeth to chat a bit more about this interesting animal and see how members and visitors can best coexist with her.
Well, they're not out of nowhere, and they've been here for a very long time. So coyotes have always kind of followed urbanization, which is why over the last couple of years, or even dozens of years, their population keeps on increasing, despite the fact that other animal populations are decreasing, because they thrive on urban sprawl. So they've been sprawling along with us for decades. When it comes to being on an island, they come over winter. So they come over on the ice, from different areas. So when you've got like Ile Bizarre, a smaller island, same issue, they come along. Ile Saint-Bernard, they travel over. So it's become very easy for them to travel, especially throughout the winter months. But they've always been around. We're just noticing them more and more. So coy wolves or even coy dogs are really, really hard to decipher in the wild. So coyotes can form hybrids with wolves. They can form hybrids with domestic dogs. And when you look at a large canine, it's almost impossible to know what it is. So in general areas, you'll find higher concentrations of wolves, higher concentrations of coyotes, and then there are these middle grounds where it's nearly impossible to find out what it is. So is it a coyote? Possibly, probably. Is it a coy wolf? It's not improbable. Can we figure it out just by looking at it? No. The best thing you can do is completely ignore it. So they're here, they're everywhere. Some coyotes can live near developments for years without people even being aware that they are there. In general, they're secretive creatures. They're up at dusk and dawn. They avoid us, and they're skittish, and that's a good thing. Where the problem starts to happen is when they start to get a little bit too used to our presence. So if they're used to seeing humans, they're used to finding food near humans or even being fed by humans, then they start to be a little bit more bold and they start to break the habit of staying away. So it's really, really important not to socialize them, you don't want to scare them, but it's okay that they are afraid of us. So if you're walking in the woods near an area where they could be, it's okay to make a little bit of noise. That's not what most Arboretum bird watchers want to hear, but it's okay for them to be afraid and keep away. Now, we shouldn't go out of our way to harass them and terrify them. So it's not impossible to cohabitate. However, we do have to not ignore the problem, but let them be. Keep your food, and whether it be animal food or any kind of composting, garbage, really under wraps. So if you are living in the area, you keep your waste well secured. And if you are taking a walk, if you are in the general area, for the animal's sake, for nature's sake, you don't want to leave behind any kind of food, any apple core, anything.
Okay, great. And what would you recommend to someone who's walking in the forest with their dog?
So I know at the Arboretum, dogs can be off leash. Dogs and coyotes, especially if it's a larger dog, coyotes won't be inclined to attack or even want to eat a larger dog. It's a competitor. They're similar size, similar builds. So, keeping them on leash is a good idea. It's an even better idea if you have a small dog. Or if you live in an area where there are coyotes, if you've got cats that are outdoor cats, again, for the safety of your own pets, keep them indoors. But generally, again, if they're hearing us, they know that there are humans around, they're going to hide way before we can ever see them. And even if the dog goes a little off trail, chances are the coyotes way further away. So keeping smaller dogs on leash, keeping smaller pets indoors, that's beneficial for a lot of animals. Cats being outdoors is not a great thing for ecosystems. They tend to become little hunters and catch birds and rodents, and they have no business being out there. But in general, coyotes tend not to be a problem for our household pets. Where we have seen instances of predatory problems is, again, when they've been desensitized to human presence and they just become overly bold and overzealous with their hunting.
If you'd like to share your Arbo photos or videos, email your media to morgan.arboretum@mcgill.ca. Also check out the Arbo Instagram page at morgan.arboretum. It's time for this week's Fun Forest Fact!
Do you know what pigment gives leaves their green color? Tune in next week to find out.
Tune in for yet another episode of Friends in the Forest next week for Halloween. Get ready for some spooky stories and Arbo tricks and treats.